Mark Anthony here for SiGMA TV. On today's podcast, I will be interviewing Max and Frederik Niehusen from Booming Games. Let's go! Hello Max, hello Fred. It's a pleasure to host you today. How are you doing?
Hi Mark, nice to meet you and thanks for being on the podcast. Excited to be here.
The pleasure is all mine. How are you doing, Fred?
Very well today, thanks Mark, and looking forward to speaking to you today.
Great stuff. I would very much like to just kick off with this podcast and find out, first and foremost, the story behind Booming Games. When did the company start operating? How was the journey up till now? Guide me through it. I would start off with Max. We'll take it in turns.
Sure. Well, it's already been roughly 8.5 years now, and it's an interesting story. You being on this podcast with me and my brother together, you can already see that there was a relation to it starting more as a kind of family and friends dream and vision we had 8.5 years ago, and ended up in being a company with, I think, roughly 170 employees and a global, very successful game slot supplier and or in general game supplier. And it's been a very interesting journey, and we had our ups and downs, obviously, like everyone. We needed a couple of years to catch up and be able to understand the industry fully, to build the best possible technical infrastructure where we can build our products on top and have as much flexibility as possible, not only in product, but also in integrations, in compliance, in reaching several different markets. And I would say roughly since 4.5 years ago, we are constantly doubling our performance, our revenue on a year-to-year basis, which is something which makes us very proud. And I would say the key to success is definitely the team. We have an amazing team with brilliant people on board, and they, together with us and with everyone joining us, are making the effort to constantly grow and become one of the best slot suppliers and game suppliers in the industry.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for that elaborated answer, Max. I also understand you recently had a child. Congratulations, Max.
Thank you. Thanks.
My absolute
pleasure. We are very happy.
We at SiGMA are also. I mean, due to this wonderful happening, of course, you were not able to make it to SiGMA Americas, but I understand Fred joined us in SiGMA Sao Paulo. Tell me a little bit how it was for you to actually be there and represent Booming Games, and also what was the market strategy to actually have this presence in Latin America. Would you like to guide me through that, Fred?
Yes, sure. But let me start by saying a big thank you to the entire SiGMA team for organizing this amazing event. It was very well organized. It was very professional. We had a very successful show and a lot of fun. It was my first time in South America, and we are definitely going again. So thank you to SiGMA for organizing this event. LATAM in general obviously is a very hot region at the moment. That's not a secret. In particular for casino suppliers, slot games and crash games are the talk of town everywhere. And we have taken the approach of Booming Games to obviously have a very strong presence in this market. And for that, as with many other regions in the world, it is very, very important to have a local presence, to understand the market, the player taste, the player demand, and all the different cultures which go along with gaming. And that is why we have not only invested to be very close to our clients and understand what works well in the market, but we've also hired locals which understand the market, which speak the language, which can overcome language barriers, which can advise our clients on promotions, and also bring along a very strong network, which is absolutely key to success down there. And it will be our approach moving forward as well to be very strong in that region. So, and obviously with events like SiGMA Americas, that is the perfect opportunity for us to show our brand, to show our team down there, to keep catch up with friends and partners and prospects. So we're very much looking forward to more events of that kind in the future.
Wow, that's great. Well, Fred, tell me also another thing. What is your approach for the Latin market though with your products? Do you have any particular set of games that have been incredibly successful? Would you like to run me through that?
Yes, definitely. So we have seen that in particular classical games work very well for us. We have a game called Burning Classics, which is very successful and among the top games across all our operators in South America, in particular in Brazil. There are other games like Flaming Chilies and also Legendary Diamonds, in particular 3x3 slots, which work very, very well in these markets. And these are the games we push, which we have in our portfolio, and also what we're working on for our future roadmap. We try to be very close to our operators to understand what their players want. And that is the key to success for us in markets like, or regions like LATAM, because we need to understand and adapt our roadmap according to the player tastes and the player demands in order to be successful down there. It is very different to what we can see and what we are experiencing in other regions of the world, simply because there's a different culture and a different development over time in gaming. And we will continue to focus on that. And we can already say we have some very promising and exciting things in the roadmap in the next 12 months, which will also suit very well for that region.
Music to my ears, Fred. Amazing. Amazing. Max, I'm going to direct my attention onto you again now. Max, how is Booming Games assuring a continuous stream of innovative ideas?
Well, kind of connected to what Frederik just said, we have a couple of things which we recently changed or adapted. So we've changed our cadence just recently, beginning of this year, which basically means that we're rolling out a game every 2 weeks instead of every 3 weeks. And this obviously gives you more quantity, but we want to be careful to not lose out on the quality and to also make sure that we have enough innovation involved. So obviously it always depends on the different markets. As Fred just mentioned, the LATAM market, which is the more evolving market, we are trying to see that we cover a good variety of games and of products. So our main business and our core business is definitely slots, and it will always be slots. But we've recently, that's the second thing I wanted to mention, at the beginning of this year, decided to basically pull off some resources of the existing teams, get in some additional people, and create something we call basically an innovation lab. So a group of people who sit together, who analyze the different markets, new markets Booming Games is entering, but also evolving markets, and see what can we do there. So we've been, since beginning of the year, we've been looking at crash games, for example. We are working on different crash games at the moment. We're working on customization for crash games. We are working on, a lot of people in the industry call it mini games. You can interpret that differently, but we're basically working on different games aside from the slots, and still with our main part of the team taking a look at the innovation and variety within our existing and ongoing roadmap, meaning classy games on one hand, but then also more innovative mechanics, trends, not reinventing the wheel. So we have a lot of different streams, and we try to put attention on all of them to not lose out on anything, but also see what fits best in the market and what fits best for our partners. As Fred said already, we try to cooperate a lot with our partners because they know their players the best, obviously, and together in a team, that's the easiest way to figure out the different preferences we then execute and produce.
Well, in regards to the strategy, right? What would that be to increase the range of products? I mean, where do you envision placing significant emphasis on the promotion and marketing of these games?
Well, again, it kind of depends on the markets as well. If you look at the market, you've recently been holding this exhibition, SiGMA, where Fred and our team went as well. We would look at an evolving market, right? So it's a huge region, and we want to look at products to smoothly and slowly bring on board the casino, which basically was more well-known from the land-based industry. So if you consider something like a crash game, it's, as you probably know yourself, it's been very successful in the recent years, but you're also fighting with topics like network latency, for example. So you need to be extremely careful in the execution and production of these games to not have too heavy games, to actually allow people with their mobile phone. I mean, at the moment, Booming Games has over 90% coverage on mobile phones, mobile devices. It's not via your laptop with a normal Wi-Fi at home anymore, but it's actually people on the go, sitting on a park bench or whatever, playing our games. So you need to make sure you have appropriate games for this. This also goes for the slot games. And one thing is the technical infrastructure, things like the network latency. The other thing is the complexity of the game. So make the game easy, understandable, make it attractive enough. And one very important thing we learned at Booming Games in the recent 8 years is it doesn't matter whether a game has 15 features or 3 features. In the end, we do entertainment in this industry, and that's what it's about. So you can easily make a game with a few features, a very simple math model, extremely attractive and extremely entertaining if you choose the right theme, the right music, the right math, volatility, hit rate, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, we've seen that with a lot of our products we made in the last couple of years, as Fred mentioned a couple of them. Something like Burning Classics is an extremely simple game, but it's very entertaining, and that's how we reach different player groups, and also a lot of players regarding the mass segment in these evolving markets.
Great. I mean, guys, the iGaming industry is a highly competitive one, and it's crucial to differentiate oneself from the competition. In this context, and Fred, I'm going to jump to you now. What sets Booming Games apart and gives it a competitive edge? So what are your company's unique selling points and strengths?
Indeed, the competition is very strong, and there's a lot of competition in our industry, so it's very difficult to stand out. And I would like to, for this question, very much build upon what Max just said in his answer, because that's exactly what we do. If you work with Booming Games, you get a full solution. We have a portfolio of games due to the strategy and the roadmap which we have chosen to take that offers and covers all different players' tastes around the globe. Anything you can imagine, you can find in our portfolio of slot games, from standard, very classical games with well-known features from the land base, up to everything which is unique and absolutely innovative. In addition to that, we are now obviously expanding into the space where we are focusing on more simple games, RNG-based mini games, what Max referred to, something which is hot at the moment, which operators are asking for, to offer something different to their player. After years, almost decades of only focusing on table games and slot games in the casino space, now suddenly new products are there, which gives an opportunity and offers companies like Booming Games also unique selling point for operators then to work with. We have invested in the last years very much in our distribution reach. And if I'm speaking about distribution reach, I'm speaking about all the different integrations we have directly or with B2B partners, which makes it very easy for almost every operator around the world by now to get access to our games. This is paired with a very strong approach we have taken on the licensing and certification side, because we have invested a lot into being available in all regulated markets around the globe. And that is key for operators, in particular for operators which work in multiple markets. They want to be able to easily get access to games in all their markets and easily have access to promotional tools in all these markets. And this can only be achieved by having a game portfolio, which I referred to, in combination with all the licensing and certification, which is necessary for all the jurisdictions which our clients are operating in, and even on top build engaging tools which allow these operators to push your games. And that's exactly what we offered Booming Games, which makes us stand out. It is easy to work with us. And obviously, and Max mentioned it in the beginning in his first answer, we have the most amazing team in the industry by far, something we're very proud of. And the success of Booming Games also stands and falls with the team. And that is our prime focus, to always have the best possible people in our team to push the growth and to stand out in this very strong competition.
A very powerful elaboration, Fred. Max, you guys have been fantastic so far. I already have a very big insight now. A very good command of what Booming Games is doing so far. I'm not going to take much more time out of your day. I have just 2 more questions left to ask. 2 curiosities I'd like to get out of my way. The first one is going to be, what is the perspective on the growing trend of player retention tools, and how is Booming Games addressing this trend to offer the most enjoyable and immersive entertainment possible? Would you like to take this one, Max?
Sure. Well, let me be very honest. We were a bit late with our tools, and we've realized this in the recent years. We've also heavily invested into this area. We are basically in the middle of launching our promotion tool set called Boom, connected to Booming Games. And we've rolled out our bonus spins like basically everyone offers them. We are in the middle of rolling out our tournaments, and we are currently developing 3 additional tools, which we're not really mentioning yet, but they're kind of familiar to what there is out there. But again, similar to what I explained on the product side of things, we want to be creative. So what are the tools for? I mean, you basically asked that in your question already, and Fred just mentioned it in his previous answer. You have a lot of competition out there. You have a lot of products out there, and in the end, you want to try and push your product towards the players. You want to introduce it towards the players, and for that, you need to not only give them free spins or bonus spins, whatever you want to call it, so they can make a couple of spins to basically try out your product, but you need to have more engaging tools. What you want is players nowadays, not only players, but in general, people are connected via the internet, via social media and various different tools. And that obviously with tools like tournaments and things where players can compete against each other, can have a journey through the product, and new products can retain players who've not been on your products or visiting your products for a longer time, new players to take a look at. It's way easier and more innovative to not only simply give out free spins or bonus spins, but to really have things like tournaments, price drops, and other things we're working on to have more and long-term engagement with your players, and also have them entertained and engaged with each other.
So not just waiting for them to wager on their first bonuses, basically. That's brilliant. I have one more question, after which I'm just going to throw in a bonus question for Fred. I just want a small insight from you before I let you guys get along with your busy schedule. Max, it would be great to gain some insight into Booming Games' long-term vision, though, and plans for the future. Specifically, could you maybe elaborate on any upcoming projects or initiatives, such as the development of the new games or the expansion into any other different markets?
Well, it's definitely not so easy to cut this short. Basically, the answer for this is a mixture of the answers we gave you previously. So we've more than doubled our team size. We've hired extremely professional, very experienced people to go along and connect with our amazing people we've had in our team for many, many years. And we did this in order to basically do several things in parallel. So we want more innovation, we want more diversity and variation within the product. For that, we need to have different side streams. We need our continuous roadmap to basically have a perfect mixture of the well-known Booming Games styled classy slot games. We want, and recently have launched a couple of games which are highly innovative, have new mechanics. We are now in the next 2 months launching our very own mechanic, shift and win, walk and win. So we've got new mechanics which are non-existent in the market, and we will launch in the next couple of months. We have, as I just mentioned in the previous question or answer, invested into a team focusing on our marketing tool called Boom, and investing a lot of time, resources, and research into creating and producing more tools for player engagement, player retainment, et cetera, et cetera. And next to that, Fred has elaborated this already. We are heavily, since 2 or 3 years already, investing in growing our team to support further markets. So we've entered, I would say, more than 6 markets in the last 1.5 years. We are tackling another 5 or so this year. And this is a continuous thing we are working on. And that's obviously extremely exciting. So we have new markets, we have new players, new partners and operators. And that goes along with a lot of new products and marketing tools, which we can basically, try out is probably the wrong word, but we can work together with our partners in our new markets and see what the players like most, and offer the best possible variety to kind of fulfill all kinds of markets and players' desires.
Brilliant. I try to make sure to get the latest of the latest scoops from you. Maybe some of the questions might have been repeated, but you never know. A new exciting answer might come out, and they actually did. Now, I feel like I've learned much more about Booming Games. However, my bonus question, directed to Fred, is: would you care to share a success story of Booming Games, a recent success story that I would say separate Booming Games from other slots companies?
Definitely. I mean, we have experienced a lot of success stories actually in the last couple of months and years as well. Very recently, we're extremely proud to see a couple of our games in the top 5 games in some of the markets we're working with, and that constantly month after month. And that is for us a huge success, and also makes us stand out from other suppliers, because it is extremely difficult to manage to get games actually sit in the top games for continuous period of time, month after month. We all know it from the success stories of Starburst or Book of Dead, but nowadays there's so much game releases every week, and the lifetime of a game is so short. And to get a game into the top games constantly, that is what makes it a huge success. And I would definitely pair that with the success of us being able. We've really put a lot of emphasis on this in this podcast, but of us being able to hire extraordinary people in the industry, and very, very happy to have them in the team, to have them join. They joined Booming Games for a reason, and that is for us a huge success. And that will make us. It already makes us, and it will make us stand out even more to our competition.
Indeed. Standing out is one thing that Booming Games have definitely done, especially after the success of the America's SiGMA that just passed 2 weeks ago. Well, a week ago, I would say. It's already been a week. It's impressive. It's impressive. It was a really, really big expo. A lot of preparation for this week, and it's already over. Is it safe to say that we'll be seeing you at a expo in Manila or in Cyprus? Will you guys be joining us?
We are definitely always sending our team around the world, so you can expect to see someone from Booming Games represent the company at almost every show which is out there. So definitely a yes.
Definitely. That's amazing. I will make any time possible to actually reach out and catch up with you guys from Booming Games. I'd like to thank the both of you, Fred, Max, for making time for me today out of your busy schedule. I know it's busy. You guys are up to a lot of things. I'm very grateful to have this new insight on Booming Games. I wish you both all the best to keep striving and growing the way you're doing. Congratulations, guys.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Been a pleasure, and always welcome to tell you and the industry a bit about what we're working on and what's on the roadmap. So thanks a lot for the interview.
I look forward to the next one.
Thanks,
Definitely.
Mark. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely. My pleasure, my pleasure.